Hey guys, what's up? So I'm out here on the stunning Oregon coast for a multi-day destination elopement that I'm shooting. Basically, I'm shooting this evening. I'm doing some rehearsal stuff with the couple, and then they're doing like a dinner on the beach and campfires and s'mores and all that. Then the full wedding day is tomorrow, and then on the third day, we're gonna be doing an adventure session out on the coast, in the redwoods and all that. So I'm really excited for the shoot and for this couple. It's gonna be an awesome experience and an awesome shoot. But what I wanted to do in this video is just share with you guys what I actually bring with me for a shoot. I know I've done like gear walkthrough videos before and like how I pack my camera bag and all that, but I wanted to share just like literally what I bring with me on an actual destination shoot that I'm shooting for multiple days, what actually goes in my camera bag and what I actually bring. So let's go inside and I will show you guys what I actually bring with me for the shoot. All right, so let's kick things off and talk about the camera bodies that I'm bringing with me. So this is a primarily video focused job. I'm not actually shooting photography. I'll be shooting a few like photos for just animations and that kind of stuff that I include in the video, but all the deliverables that I'm doing are all video based, not photo based. So the primary camera body that I brought with me to shoot the majority of all the work on this trip is the Sony FX3, and that's what I'm gonna be shooting almost everything on for the entire weekend. Now, I did also bring along my trusty Canon R3 because number one, this is a fantastic photography camera and honestly just a camera I'm super comfortable with, and so it's a fantastic backup camera to have just in case something happens with the FX3. I can feel completely comfortable shooting the entire weekend on this camera alone if I have to. And honestly, I shoot all of my photo animations and all that stuff on this camera. So basically I'll have this camera on my hip the entire weekend. So if I want to shoot animations or if I need to capture like a still of something, I can do that on the R3. And then the Sony FX3 will be the primary camera to shoot all the video work for the weekend. Now I did also bring a couple other camera bodies with me just to film some extra additional content. The first of which is my new GoPro Hero 12 Black. I actually pre-ordered this camera and got it on release date and have been trying it out ever since. And it's honestly, I've been really, really happy with this camera. I actually upgraded from the Hero 7 Black. So to go from the 7 to the 12 has been a massive improvement. I shot a bunch of like vlog style kind of stuff on this trip already with it. I have a little mount in my car to shoot kind of interior car footage and all that. Just basically just using it to capture a bunch of kind of candid vlog style stuff of myself and of this trip. The next camera unit that I brought with me is my drone. So this is actually the DJI Mavic Air 2. I know it's not the newest, most competent drone out there, but this is the drone that I own, and the best camera is the camera that you actually have on you. And so this is the drone that I'm using, and it's honestly a great little camera. Having this on hand, especially in such a small compact form factor as the Air 2 has been really, really fantastic. And so this was definitely like a no-brainer to bring with me on this trip. And then the final camera body that I brought with me is not really for anything video related, it's just more so a personal camera. I brought my Leica M6. It's honestly just such a great departure from the digital world that I shoot on all the time. And so having this with me has been really fun just to capture some fun stuff at the coast. I probably won't be shooting much with it on the wedding day itself just because I'm shooting video, but it's still really fun to have just for some personal stuff and just to kind of capture life. And so the Leica M6 basically comes with me everywhere I go, and this trip is no exception. All right, so that's the camera bodies. Now let's talk lenses. So for the Sony FX3, I brought two lenses, which are the only two lenses that I own on a Sony platform. That's the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 art lens and the brand new Sony 70-200 f4 macro, and this is the version 2. This is the lens that just came out a few weeks ago. I have a whole video reviewing this lens if you're interested in that, but these are basically the two lenses I have, allowing me to have a focal range of 24 all the way up to 200, which for the purposes of this shoot is fantastic and just really covers everything I need. And on a platform like the FX3, having the f4 lens is not a problem at all because the FX3 can max out at a 12,800 ISO clean on video, and it's just fantastic. So the 24-70 Sigma and the 70-200 f4 macro Sony are the two lenses I brought from my FX3. Now for the Canon R3, I actually just brought one lens, my trusty 28-70 f2. I brought this lens basically because I know I can trust that I can shoot an entire elopement, an entire wedding, an entire project on photo or on video on this lens. It opens all the way up to f2, so it's fantastic in low light. It has a really great 28-70 range. So basically, if I had to in a pinch, if the FX3 died and I lost both of my lenses for that, I could shoot everything on the R3 with the 28-70. And the 28-70 is a great lens for photography, which is primarily what I'm going to be actually using it for unless something happens with the FX3. And so the R3 with the 28-70 f2 is really just a fantastic backup unit and photography unit to have with me for this trip. And that really does it for lenses. Now let's move on to accessories and all that stuff. So first off, let's talk audio. I basically brought two different audio units with me. First off is the XLR handle for the Sony FX3 paired with the Sennheiser MKE400. I have a little dead cat on that, and that's just mounted on the XLR handle. that'll be the primary kind of like ambient audio capture for this elopement. Really the majority of any kind of like Foley audio that I need, sounds of the ocean, sounds of the birds, kind of ambient audio at the reception at their wedding, that'll happen on the XLR handle paired with that Sennheiser MKE400. And then for any like additional audio that I need for vows or any of that kind of stuff, I'm going to be using the DJI mics, one of which I'm using right now to record this video, but this pack comes with two, so I can basically put these on two different people and have those record any additional audio that I need. And then I have my XLR handle set up to actually record 4 channels. And so I have 2 different channels are from the MKE400. I have a high gain channel and a low gain channel. And then channels 3 and 4 are dedicated just to the DJI mics. Now for my style of video, I don't do a lot of live vow miking, a lot of live speech miking, any of that kind of stuff. And so I will have a time with a couple where I actually record all their vows and record their story and all that. I'll actually do that on the MKE400. And then I'll use these little DJI mics as just a backup in case something happens with the Sennheiser mic. But it's nice to have the option to basically have an ambient mic and 2 on-person lab mics. And so that's the audio unit that I brought with me for this wedding. In terms of audio monitoring, I brought a pair of Shure in-ear monitors, and basically I use these just to make sure my levels are correct. If I'm doing like a long recording of like the story or vows or something, I'll have those in constantly. Otherwise, I just kind of monitor the levels on the FX3 itself, and then I'll just kind of use these from time to time just to make sure that nothing's peaking out or I don't have interference or anything like that. But in the event that I need to actually monitor the audio live, that's what those are for. So moving down the accessory list, I brought 2 sets of ND filters with me. The first is the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro version 1, and then I also have the Peter McKinnon Polar Pro version 2, and this one is the mist filter. Normally I'll leave the version 1 on my 24-70, and then I might put the version 2 mist on my 70-200, or just swap out the 2 depending. The mist is a really, really subtle mist. It's not like this heavy kind of softening thing that happens. It just basically tames down the really harsh highlights just a little bit. So I feel pretty confident using both of these filters side by side. And so usually one of those will go on the 70-200, the other one will go on the 24-70, and then I can basically just switch back and forth between those lenses without having to swap ND filters. ND filters are a hugely essential piece of capturing good quality video in harsh lighting conditions, and so those always go in my bag. All right, moving through my bag, I also brought this little low pro bag with just a bunch of random accessories. I have like extra microphone cables in here in case I need to like wire something to the DJ booth. I have my Tilta top rail accessory, so if I need to mount a handle to the top of my cage, I can do that. Speaking of the top handle, I have the Tilta top handle. This is like the quick release top handle. I also have this little NATO rail small rig monitor mount thing that I'm actually not using a monitor for this job. I left my Ninja 5 at home because it's mostly running gun stuff and the monitor just kind of gets in my way. But I still brought the little NATO rail monitor clip because this is great for actually mounting this Aperture MC light. And so if I need to kind of add some additional light on the dance floor, or if I'm filming something super late at night and I just need to add some additional light, I can literally just clip this to the top of my Sony XLR handle and then mount the Aperture MC, or even honestly my GoPro to this. It's just a really kind of handy way to mount really whatever you want to this rig. And then I have a few other things in here as well. I think I have like a blower. I have some extra AA batteries, just a bunch of random accessories like that. A couple more random accessories I brought with me is my small rig cold shoe monitor adapter. This is also for my GoPro specifically for this trip. Basically the new Hero 12 GoPro has a quarter 20 like mounting thread, so I can literally just mount this directly on top of my FX3 or the R3 or anything I want like that. So this is just a great way to have that. Or I can also mount the Aperture MC directly to this. And so it's just a great way to have some additional like mounting options. Speaking of the GoPro, I also brought the Max Lens Mod 2.0. This is just like that ultra wide lens mount that goes on top of the GoPro and just opens up the field of view. I always wonder like, hey, should I bring this stuff or should I not? And then I get in the field and I'm like, oh shoot, I wish I had like that extra POV, or I wish I had that specific mount. Small little accessories take up the majority of my bag because I'm always just like, oh, what if I want this? And then if I don't bring it, it's the one time that I'm like, oh shoot, I do want to bring that. I also bring a little flashlight with me. And honestly, this thing has saved my butt so many times because I've been out like late shooting on some beach somewhere or up in the mountains somewhere, and then have tried to like walk the trails to get home and it's dark and you can't see. Then you're like out trying to point your iPhone flashlight and it's just not bright enough. So having a little tiny flashlight is super helpful. That goes in my camera bag everywhere I go. And then I also brought this little Sony audio recorder thing. Sometimes I'll mount this to the wireless mic if I'm doing a full like speech recording or vow recording or something like that at the wedding. It's one of those things where it's just super small and I always like to throw it in my bag and just have it on hand. And then the last thing that's worth talking about is memory cards. I actually just recently picked up this new Polar Pro Slate version 2 memory card reader. This is like a waterproof, drop-proof memory card reader that I'm actually really liking. It like actually seals and like locks down and all that with a whole like rubber ring and all that. And then when you pull it out, you have different options of what you can actually put in there. I purchased the one that has 4 CF Express Type B cards and then 4 SD cards as well as like 4 micro SD cards. For the longest time, I was carrying around a little like fabric memory card holder, and it was great. It did the job. It carried everything around, but I always worried that I was going to drop my memory cards like in the water, or they were going to fall off something and just drop and break. And so I really wanted to invest in like a water resistant, drop proof memory card holder solution. And I looked around a lot. I was looking at some Pelican versions, and then I found this one from Polar Pro, and it just aesthetically looks really cool, and it's super rugged. I've been really happy with it so far. Oh, and then it's also worth mentioning the bag that I brought with me. So I actually brought 2 different bags. This is the Wander Provoke. This is the largest version of the bag that they offer. It's the only bag that allows me to actually carry my R3 in the bag here. So I have the Wander Provoke bag with the deep cube, and then the top of this bag is actually empty, so I can kind of put flashes or microphone handles or anything up there. Basically, I can put my cameras and my lenses in this part, and then some random accessories up there. And then I also brought the Wandered Rogue Sling, which is basically the little sling bag that I carry with me. And I've been really impressed with this thing. Basically, it just allows me to put like a lens, a couple accessories in there. I can actually strap my water bottle or tripod to the bottom of it if I want to. Usually I put like batteries and stuff in the back here. There's a little pouch there for all of that. So that's been really, really helpful. Just sort of kind of like carrying a few accessories with me, and it matches the backpack, which is really, really nice as well. And then I also brought my harness. This is the Rose Anvil harness. Allows me to mount 2 cameras side by side. So I'll have my R3 on one side and my FX3 on the other. And then the last thing I brought is my Peak Design tripod. This thing is just super small and light. I don't always use a tripod, but it's just always so nice to have one. And this one is just so small and so light. It's just easy to strap to the bottom of the bag and just not really have to worry about it. So that always comes with me on basically every trip I shoot. And that does it. So hopefully that was a helpful look at what I actually bring with me. Now I have to actually go pack all the stuff in my bag and head out to rehearsal tonight. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. If it was, let me know down below, and I'll do my best to have all this stuff linked down below as well. All right, cheers guys. Peace. See you in the next one.